Hey, all, I just had a really nice conversation with Wayne Thomas Yorke, or just Wayne Yorke. He hosts a really interesting show called Hooray for Hollywood, which you can find on YouTube, Instagram, and I believe on Facebook. And he's a really lovely gentleman, actor, who's had about 3 different careers in show business: actor, location scout slash manager, and now he hosts his own show, which talks about the history of Hollywood, which he adores and loves so much. And I'm going to start watching it because I love that kind of stuff. I love history, and I love the history of Hollywood or show business or any of that kind of stuff. So please welcome my guest, Wayne Thomas Yorke.
Welcome to my podcast, where I'll be speaking with guests candidly about interesting topics. So join me on Candid with Kimbra.
So I want to welcome, he likes to go by Wayne Yorke, but in his IMDb and everything, it's Wayne Thomas Yorke, right?
With an E on the end of York, which I've said for 63 years now. There's an E on the end of York.
Right. Is that English?
Yes.
English. Well, it sounds very English anyway, but I know you're from Canada originally, right?
Born and raised Vancouver. And in 1991, when I was, what's that, born in 61, 71, 80, so I was almost 30,
Right.
I thought, well, wait a minute. My dad was born in the United States. My mom was born in Canada. I was born in Canada. I've got 2 passports. I should give Hollywood a try. I've been acting for, 10 years in Vancouver, Canada. And so I came down to Los Angeles for 6 months, and now married, 2 kids, and I think 6 months have passed.
Right. And luckily, were you one of those typical stories where you came with like just a little bit of money, or were you safe and you brought like a good like amount of resources, or did you come kind of like just I came with $100 and that kind of thing?
Oh no, I came with very little money, and my first job was at the LA Theater Center on Spring Street,
Oh,
phoning people, trying to sell tickets by telephone.
oh, like a telemarketing kind of thing?
Tel- yes, yes. So even to this day, I'm sympathetic when people call me and I say, "Look, I understand you're looking for something, but I'm not your guy. Thank you for calling," because I know what it's like.
Yeah, I know what you mean too. Like everybody that was my friends that were waiters and servers and bartenders, they're always big tippers, because they always realize how hard it is, right? Um,
Yes.
but you're from Canada, so you're extra nice. That's the stereotype anyway.
Hey, come on, eh?
So, what do you think about, so you must love living here because you've been here for a while, right?
I do. I do. Although now I'm thinking, as we get closer, my wife and I get closer to retirement, it's like, well, what's the next option? Things are changing down here, work-wise and everything. So
Right.
what's the next option? Should maybe return to Canada? Maybe Oregon? So we're playing around, but anytime it's rainy and cloudy here in LA, it feels like I'm at home,
Right. You're exploring your options, as they say, right?
exploring our options. Yes.
So how do you know Craig? Because, Wayne and I have been introduced through Craig. So I wanted to know, how do you know Craig from? Did you ever do stand up?
I never did stand up. I think just through the acting world, just through commercials and auditions, and when we used to audition in person and sit in the waiting room and, hey, I'm Wayne. Hey, I'm Craig. Hey, just that way. There used to be a group of us.
What do you think? What's your opinion on auditioning in person and then now these self submits? Because I just did one myself the other day, and my friend was like, she loves them because you don't have to drive and you get to do all the stuff. You get to pick your best take, which I agree with that too. But then I had an audition the other day, which was like they wanted 6 clips and a new slate. And I'm like, if I had been by myself, there's no way I could have done this. So
Totally.
what's your opinion on doing the self tape? Do you miss the days when you used to actually go and audition in person?
I do, because you could kind of connect with people. You could chat and say, hey, how you doing? And this just happened or that just happened. And I know that they used to swipe by our pictures, or our physical pictures. They used to have a large stack. You would go to the casting office, they had a large stack, and they could just open the envelope and then put them aside. But now it's just they swipe, and I think they can swipe through your audition.
True.
And
True.
I don't know, it's just I miss the in-person stuff.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, but the only good thing about the self tapes is that the driving, you don't have to do driving so much, but it's a lot of work. Like I said, this one audition I just submitted for was like six little clips and changing of clothes. They wanted me to change clothes in each clip, and I was like, my God. And it took me like 3 hours total, like with the filming and then the uploading and the, changing. And so I was like, this is a long audition.
Oh yeah. Oh, it takes a lot of time, but that's the one thing I don't miss is I know we used to do in the glory days 1 to 5 auditions a day, and it was just heaven. But when you found out you got that last minute call, oh Wayne, they want to see you in Santa Monica at 4:30.
Oh, right. Yeah,
No,
here in the
thank you.
valley in the Santa Monica, for people outside of Los Angeles or outside of California, it's like people that live in the valley do not want to go to the west side, and the west side people do not want to go to the valley. And
That's right. And not Friday at 4:30.
yeah, right. And then there's the one, gosh, there was the one on Third Street in La Brea. What's that one? Remember that one casting place on Third Street in La Brea? I can't remember.
Oh, sure. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. By the Ralphs, the
Yeah,
grocery
yeah.
store. Yeah, and you would go upstairs.
Right. And that was a
That's
nice
still
place.
open.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, there's several different offices where you can audition, right? And then
Yeah.
there's the one on Sunset that my friend Karen Ryan, who's a casting director, she works out of the one. It's like Sycamore and Sunset or something. I
Yeah.
can't.
And then on Ventura in the Valley,
Yeah, yeah.
Studio City.
I haven't been to the Valley in forever for auditions. And then there's the one in Santa Monica, and I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, well, when you live in Los Angeles, you kind of know how to navigate like the times, like you're gonna, because anything after 4 o'clock, you're dead, you know?
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you now, I was reading your resume, and what do you specialize? Do you consider yourself more of a theater actor or film and TV or just anything,
I think anything. I think I enjoyed TV more, I think, than stage. Stage is such a wonderful experience, and I had so many good times. Excuse me, but if you're doing 8 shows a week, two on Saturday, two on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, um, it just became very, very tiring. And there's something about the immediacy of TV or film or doing commercials where you're right there, you can bang it out, you do it, and then they look at it, I don't look at it, and they go, okay, Wayne, let's try it where you're looking this way or something. So I think I just love that a little more.
You're the opposite of me because I prefer the stage and the theater because it's I don't know, you feel like a little family and you get that immediacy of the audience, right? But I do like film and TV because it usually pays more. So that's the thing, right?
Yes, there's that too. And you don't get residuals from a stage show.
That's true. You're lucky if you barely get, $100 a night.
I know, I know. But still, I have so many good memories from doing stage plays too, as
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Right. Theater, like
It was,
family. You just like I have a friend that we did a musical together when I was in my early 20s, and I'm still friends with him today, and we're
yeah.
just like a bond that like doing musical. I don't know if you've ever done any musicals, but you're backstage and stretching, preparing,
Oh, definitely. I was blessed and got to play nicely, nicely in Guys and Dolls.
Oh, you did? I
I
love
did. It was just, to have the chorus behind you, the music behind you, and there's nothing like that. It's like, I don't know, I was going to say riding a roller coaster. It's not that. It's just thrilling though.
Yeah, it's thrilling. You're right. And like I said, you just bond with people because you're night after night, you're back there talking about family, talking about stuff, you're talking about, the biz, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but I did want to ask you about Star Trek. Now, which Star Trek were you on? I know you were on Star Trek, but I couldn't remember which one. Was it Voyager?
It was Star Trek Voyager with Kate Mulgrew, and it was heaven. It was just heaven because for me, I never get to play a bad guy.
Because you have this
I'm
face, it's
always
very like if you can't, if you people that are listening, because we're also on all the places where you can hear this podcast, but this man has a very wholesome, all American, well, all Canadian looking face, right?
so after 3 hours of makeup, I got to be this bad guy that they never hire me for anything else. But then I got to be the bad guy and kidnap Kate Mulgrew, and she couldn't have been nicer. And I think we filmed, if I remember, on St. Patrick's Day was one of our days.
Mhm.
And, to the crew that she works with all the time, she's handing out this lovely Irish whiskey. And I don't expect that there for a few days. And she gives me one. Here, Wayne, this is for you. Happy St. Pat. What? I mean, she just couldn't have been sweeter.
So how did you get, you just auditioned? I mean, because you say you never play bad guys. So how did you just audition and then they saw you as that part?
I guess, isn't that funny? I never thought of that, that
Mhm.
they only saw this
Mhm,
when I
mhm.
went to the audition, you know? Boy, I'm not
You
sure.
must
Maybe
have
they
done a great acting job.
well, yeah, maybe my bad guy voice helped, but yeah, that was really fun. And my coworker was Andy Milder. We were kind of a duo of bad guys, and we would go out during the breaks at the Paramount lot and stand outside. And as the tour buses went by, the Paramount lot tour buses, we would be out there in these costumes and everything. Just wait. It was just that they loved it. We loved it. Uh, it's a terribly positive experience.
Oh, that's great. I have a good friend. His name's Alex Enberg, and another friend of mine, Kendra. They've been doing. Is Voyager their most recent? No, there's. I think there's something after Voyager, isn't there?
I think there's something after Voyager 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend Alex Enberg, his mom was a producer on one of the Star Treks, and I thought it was Voyager. Her name was, I believe, Lee something, and she passed away recently. But so Alex played one of the characters on Voyager. You know, like he had a recurring, but he does the conventions all the time now. Do you ever do the conventions at all, or did you just do the one episode, or did you do were you were recurring?
No, just did the one episode. I didn't do conventions, but I have been sent stacks of cards, those little cards that they sell as souvenirs.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like, Wayne, if you would sign these, send
Oh
them back to us, and then we'll sell them on wherever, eBay or wherever they sell them.
oh wow.
So I got my card, but
Mhm.
not a convention. I would
Mhm.
love that.
You know, I'm just looking at your resume too. You were on X Files. Wow, that must have been really fun work. How was David Duchovny?
I've been so lucky in that every show I've worked on has been kind of a positive experience.
Hmm.
Uh, it, it's just been, yeah, like hire me for a regular because I would love to be in this crew, this group of people. Just yeah, very positive.
Wow, yeah,
Very
he's a nice
positive.
guy. I met him once. He was a friend of my boyfriend, and he just was so smart. You know, he's like a really smart guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and nice too. Really like down to earth. So, out of all the things that you've done, what is the thing that you're the most proud of? Do you have something that you're the most proud of, acting wise?
Uh Shoot, I wish I remembered the name of the show. Maybe it was The West Wing.
Oh yeah.
No, no, The West Wing I really enjoyed too. That was fun. But I'm trying to think. Um, there was where I was a really angry airplane passenger, and for some reason the thing was delayed. The trip was delayed. So I got to, well, I guess here's another part of just not friendly, nice neighbor guy. I got to yell in the airport and be angry, and it's like I missed my flight. Well, I'm going to miss my job. I'm not. I was there for a job interview and things like that.
Right. Those kind
Uh,
of parts are so much more fun to play, right? And
oh, the parts that I'm not a fan of are when you're a doctor and you have to go in and go, well, listen, you should take such and such and such and such. It's like that lingo just doesn't click
I could totally see
somehow.
you playing a doctor, though. I mean, I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
Yes, yes, I do.
I'm sorry to tell you, but you know, there's
Yeah. Oh,
or some bad news, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that part is okay. It's when you have to list off medicines or
Oh, right. Memorize like technical lingo, sort of, right?
so not my cup of tea.
I know you have to sit there and memorize before, like, for a long time, right? So now, did you ever do any improv groups or anything like that?
Oh, I was in the Vancouver Theatre Sports League
Hmm.
up in Canada, and I took classes at the Groundlings down here.
Hmm.
Uh, and
Oh, you did?
and
You studied at the Groundlings for how long?
I did not a long time. I don't even know if it was a year with Tim Bagley.
Hmm.
Um, and but I was lucky up in Vancouver. I don't know if you know Colin Mockery, who's in Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, okay, yeah,
Um,
I've seen that. Hmm.
yeah, Colin is the balding fellow and terribly talented. I did a show with Colin, an improv show up in Vancouver
Hmm.
called Suspect with the Vancouver Theatre Sports League. And Colin was the detective and I was the butler and all that. I mean, the challenge on the show was to not laugh because Colin is so funny.
Really?
Colin Mockery, oh my goodness, it's just terribly funny.
Wow, what a lot of fun that must have been. So, now you keep talking well, you not keep talking, but you mentioned you might retire. So are you saying that there's going to be a time limit when you're not going to be doing acting anymore, or will you always do acting?
Well, acting started to slow down, especially commercially, and it started to become kind of hit and miss a little bit. It stopped, unfortunately, a long time ago, being 1 to 5 auditions a day.
Mm.
It became maybe one a week, maybe one every 2 weeks. And I mean, I still have two children, but they're not children anymore. But at the time, they were little, and it's like I can't do this. I've got to drift into something else. So I drifted into location managing,
Oh,
and I've been doing that for about 8 years. But now, unfortunately, that's become, because of the way the business is right now, that's become very hit and miss.
well, because a lot of stuff is filmed, in other places, right? So,
Yeah.
would you go? Have you ever been hired for something and they say they fly you to a different like state or anything like that?
For acting, yes, and for locations, never.
Mm.
Because, well, although guess where all the work is now? Sometimes Atlanta, but sometimes Vancouver.
I
So
know.
my
Oh,
my
do you go back and forth? Do you ever work over there?
I do. I've worked in Vancouver. I did a series up in Toronto for a couple of years, and that was just great. But now I'm thinking, yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to retire and maybe my time in LA is kind of done, which is okay.
I know, but I hate to because I have like four good friends that moved out of state. Mostly it's financial, because you can live so much less expensively in other states,
Sure.
and I would say 100% of the time it's financial actually, because there is something about it, being in Los Angeles where, especially if you're in the arts, where it's a special place because there's a tribe here, right? So there's a lot of people and that you can talk to, hang out with, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's a great company.
Yeah.
It's just a great company. And I think with the idea of retiring, that's why I started the Instagram TikTok thing called Hooray for Hollywood underscore.
Oh,
Because I thought, well, if I'm going to say goodbye to Hollywood in the next 2, 3 years, maybe, and I've always loved it, then I want to explore it as much as I can and kind of tip my hat to these different places that I've always loved but want to learn more about. Because yeah, I just find it so interesting. So that's why I'm doing that, is just to kind of get that out.
yeah. So this is on TikTok, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, it's called Hooray for Hollywood underscore something.
Yeah, because this is all new to me. If it weren't for my kids, I wouldn't know how to come up with a username.
Right.
But they said, Dad, there's already a Hooray for Hollywood. So I said, well, let's do Hooray for Hollywood underscore.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah, well, yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I do it.
And so tell me a little bit more about this TikTok account. So how long are your clips?
Some would say too long. Um, but they go anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 minutes, and it's the history of the Chateau Marmont or the Charlie Chaplin Studios or something like that. Right now, I'm working on Peg Entwistle, who was that actress in 1932 who very sadly was having a tough time and jumped off the H
Oh,
of the
wow.
Hollywood sign.
That's okay. I'm gonna have to look that up because I love that kind of stuff. I love
Oh,
history of, I love old Hollywood history. I love history in general, but just old Hollywood history is really incredible. I had an idea for a show like that once too, because not like exactly what you're doing. It was tied more into music because I sing and I write songs and things, but it
ah,
was, like the Rainbow Bar and Grill, which is on Sunset, which is like a rock and roll hangout. It used to be owned by Judy Garland's second husband, Vincent Minnelli.
Vincent Minnelli.
I believe that was the story of that. But yeah, he owned that, and it was just like a nice restaurant, but it was right there. So I love, but the Rainbow is so rock and roll and has been that way, I think, from maybe the 70s. So it's most people just don't know it like that. But there's several places around LA that used to be something else, and now it's this.
I
So,
know. And I love to know the history. I love to find out who met there, who
right.
proposed to who there.
Yeah, like there was a place that I always heard about, but I think it's been gone for a long, long time. But in old like I Love Lucy reruns, they would always show Perinos. Is that what it was called? Perinos? It was like a famous uh,
Hmm.
watering hole, they called it, right? I think it was called Perinos. It was gone way before I ever moved here, but to Los Angeles. But it was like one of those places where celebrities would always go and have dinner, and then like I said, I saw it on these old I Love Lucy reruns where they were like, Clark Gable's here, and da, 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 but they don't have those kind of places. Like they do, I guess they do have that, but just Hollywood's so different, where it's like you,
Yeah.
it's people dress more casually. Back then, it was just like everybody was all dressed up, and they'd come in with their stoles, right?
Right. And they would dress up to get on airplanes.
Yeah, that's so true.
Suits and ties and dresses and
That's so funny. Yeah, I was telling my father the other day, I said, I don't mind people dressing casually for the airplanes, but why do men wear those flip flops? Like on the plane, you see them, I'm like, ew.
yeah. I still get surprised, and this shows how old-fashioned I can be. But when guys wear shoes with no socks,
Oh, yeah.
how do you do that? I can't do that.
Bother your feet, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Socks are kind of comfy.
I know it's so true how far we've, descended, I guess, like as far as like, because it used to be super, I guess, when you see those old shows like Mad Men and you see that in the airplanes, like I guess it was in the 60s where my father tells me that when they first start flying, there was a bar like upstairs and you would have a cocktail and you come down. And now it's like you can't even you get like some crackers and peanuts, right?
Right, right, right. And then you hear about, which always just surprises me because of that, you hear about somebody, striking somebody on a plane or having a fight or this or that. Are you kidding me? On an airplane, just read a book. Well, or your phone or something.
Oh, that's true. Read a book. Well, it would be nice to read a book, but and then they always used to show movies, but I don't think they show movies that much anymore. I guess it's if it's a longer flight or maybe internationally, you know.
Well, then you have your own independent screen as opposed to one
Right.
down the aisle,
Mhm.
in the center. I think you have your own little screen.
Right. Yeah, which is kind of better maybe, but it's not as big, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how often do you shoot those TikTok videos? Do you do it from your phone?
I do it from my phone. I will usually start by going to the location and saying, "Hey, welcome to Hooray for Hollywood. My name is Wayne Yorke. I'm standing outside the Chateau Marmont, and blah de blah de blah, and let's get into it some more." And then I do the research, I do the pictures, and then I kind of interview, well, not interview, I just kind of host it from home
Mhm.
and and then edit it together. I really try to do it once a week, but it just takes a lot of time. So now I'm lucky if I do one every 2 weeks.
Okay, but it's definitely called Hooray for Hollywood, right? Hooray for Hollywood.
Hooray for Hollywood.
But
and
underscore.
and underscore.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's an E on the end of York.
So if people go on TikTok, they can find it, right? The Hooray for Hollywood underscore,
They
right?
sure can.
Okay.
They sure can. Instagram, TikTok. I started putting it on YouTube, and then I was exploring putting it on my Facebook page. The last one I did, which is on Chuck Workman's Precious Images.
Mm-hmm, hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's like every friend I've ever had in the universe sees it on Facebook. So it's like, well, I'm still figuring all this out.
But you're like me, you just want to stay creative, it sounds like too, right?
Totally. Totally. That's what people have said, when things were really slow and work was slow in locations and certainly acting, people said, Wayne, you have to be creative. Try being creative. And that's what prompted the Hooray for Hollywood,
Mm-hmm,
was just so I could focus in on a passion. And I've always had it for Hollywood, even in Vancouver.
hmm, hmm.
So yeah, that's why I do it. And I love it.
Yeah, that's great. And you know what? It's good that you're doing that too, because like when people will find these clips later and it's like a little bit of history. What was that guy's name that he used to have that show? It was on PB.
Buell Hauser,
Yes, that's the one, right? And
love him.
he passed away, right?
He did. He
Yeah, but
did.
he had some. It wasn't always just about Hollywood. His stuff was like interesting artifacts, like um, let's say on Catalina Island or something. There's a blah blah blah. You don't always pick these like interesting places that you may not have known about, right?
Loved him.
Yeah, he was
Lo-
like had a big following. It's so sad that he's no longer with us.
well, if they're looking for a new Buell
Yeah, he
Hauser,
could be the new. I say slight resemblance, right?
there you go. There you go.
You're
Keep
gonna
my
have to be
fingers
the,
crossed.
yeah, you have to be the nice guy again, though.
Yes, yes. Well, I won't go into makeup,
Right, right.
and hopefully that'll help.
Well, I'm definitely gonna look up your show, Hooray for Hollywood, when I sometime today. I'm gonna do it. But people can find it on TikTok, Instagram, and you're trying to get it on Facebook. You said.
Yeah, I tried YouTube, and it's doing okay there. I have a channel called Hooray for Hollywood, and then on Facebook, which again is a new thing. So
We'll see if it people. Yeah, yeah, I think it's good to put it on Facebook because the demographics are a little bit older on Facebook too. So maybe people, I think there's a group of people that would like that, right?
I think so too. And now I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, you're just kind of creeping into that, the older crowd, right?
Yes, I'm kidding, of course. I'm 63, and I think Facebook is really my peeps.
I know. Well, no, I mean that's so much. I meant it because older people like history. When I say older people, I mean like 40.
Yeah.
They
Oh, I
sometimes,
totally get it.
yeah, I think sometimes people in their, teens and 20s are not so into, but there's always exceptions. But generally speaking, a lot of people don't seem to like history that much that I've experienced.
Well, the funny thing is, on TikTok, I'll do a little blurb. I'm sorry.
That's a younger audience, so you're saying you're having success, right?
And there's some success. I did Thelma Todd, who was an actress from the 30s, and somehow that skyrocketed to 25,000 views, which
Oh, that's
I have no idea who I paid for that, but
Who did you have to pay off for that one?
yeah, yeah. What the? But I'll do my little thing and get a few hundred hits or something, and then someone will show a photograph of the Chateau Marmont and a little blurb, and that'll get thousands. And it's like, okay, maybe I gotta tighten it up for that crowd.
Yeah. I think that's great. But yeah, I was surprised. This one teenage girl that I've been helping with her music a little bit, I played her a song from, gosh, like 15, 16 years ago. And she was like, oh, yeah, they've been playing that a lot on TikTok. And I was like, really? So I was surprised, she knew about it like from TikTok and it was kind of an older song. So I was surprised that it got so well received on TikTok, right?
Great, great. Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's
You just
yeah.
never, but everybody says TikTok is the place to be. I have not got on it yet because I'm so consumed with Instagram and YouTube right now. So, but I'm that's my next place is TikTok. I keep saying that, but maybe I'm going to let Craig handle that for me.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised how many people. I even see my wife, who's now a retired school teacher, flipping around, the different reels and things like that. It's like, wow, there's something about it. There's something about the speed and the uh yeah, the tightness of it that
Yeah.
people just get mesmerized. And I know I do too. I get stuck, flipping and flipping and flipping and
Well, listen, Wayne, I really appreciate you coming on today. And so people, I will have all his information under my YouTube video. I always put like your show names, your links, your IMD, I'll put everything where people can find you, like Hooray for.
thank you so much.
You're so
What a
welcome.
pleasure.
I really appreciate you coming on. And so this is like I said, it's streaming, not streaming, it through the podcast playground. I am on all the places where you can find podcasts, but I'll send it to you when you're done, and so you could share it.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, you too. And are you going to be shooting anything today?
Just doing research.
Ah, research.
I've got the book right beside me. Oh,
Oh, I can see. Oh, Peg, and it's N Twistle, right? Or N
oh
Whistle.
yeah. Entwistle, and I don't know if that's appearing backwards, but Peg Entwistle and the Hollywood Sign. This is a library book, which is why it looks a little rough. But yeah, just doing research today and writing.
That is an interesting story. And when she jumped off that Hollywood sign, was that when it was? No, I was gonna remember. Wasn't it Hollywoodland Realty or something? And then they changed it.
Yeah, it was Hollywoodland, and this I learned from doing the research.
Mhm.
It used to have 4,000 lights on it,
Mhm.
and it would flash Hollywood Land, and then the whole thing would be lit, and then it would go black, and then Hollywood
Oh wow!
Land. Can you imagine living under that or near that?
Wow, that is so interesting. And then I know it fell kind of into disarray, after 20, 30 years, right? Um, but yeah, they should kind of redo that. Maybe not
Well,
flashing that way, but something, right?
now they have light shining on it,
Oh, okay.
and they did redo it. They spent a lot of money. It was supposed to last for 18 months as just an advertisement for the realty for the Hollywoodland subdivision.
Mm-mm.
Uh, and then it just became synonymous with Hollywood, and then the signs started falling down. So they thought, well, let's take the word land down and redo everything else. So it's been redone a number of times.
Wow. I know.
Yeah,
It just keeps, it's a great spot though.
I know.
Oh, well, I can't wait to see your next episode about Peg and Twistle or N Whistle.
Fantastic. Thank you. I look forward to doing it and getting it out there.
Yeah, well, have a great rest of the day, and we'll be talking to you soon, okay?
You got it. Thanks so much. Take care.
You too. Bye, Wayne.